we're still looking at the electricity substation in question, which is in Hayes. And, yes, there's still a lot of steam coming off, but as you can imagine, with all of the water that's been poured on it by the fire crews. Since, what time did it happen? About 1:30 or 2:30?
About 1:30 this morning.
This morning, yeah. For hours and hours, firefighters have been fighting what was a substantial blaze there.
Awful lot of questions about all of this. Let's talk to the Deputy Leader of Reform UK, Richard Tice, who joins us now. Good to see you, Mr Tice, this morning. I mean, there are an awful lot of questions here. We don't know what's caused this, but there are lots of questions as to why there wasn't better redundancy, why our infrastructure, not only substations, but Heathrow Airport as a piece of infrastructure, it doesn't have better redundancies.
Some critical infrastructure like that obviously requires a backup, and I can exclusively reveal this morning to you, your viewers and your listeners, having spoken to an industry expert, it appears that Heathrow had changed its backup systems in order to be, wait for it, net zero compliant, and therefore they had got rid of their diesel generators and had moved towards a biomass generator that was designed not to completely replace the grid, but work alongside the grid. And therefore, basically, their net zero compliant backup system has completely failed in its core function at the first time of asking. I mean, it beggars belief.
And if that is so, what is your reaction to that? As Heathrow is one of the busiest and most important airports in the world, how do you feel about that?
Well, I think it just proves that what I've been saying for some time, net stupid zero has the most catastrophic consequences, because this has now affected transport and hundreds of thousands of people all over the world. And the complete failure of common sense. If something ain't, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We know diesel generators work. They've worked for decades and decades as backup systems. And if this industry expert that tells me if that is correct, and I have no reason to believe that it's not, then, they are guilty of gross negligence of the highest order.
Well, as I say, we'll have to get confirmation on whether or not that is the case. However, frankly, Richard, it begs the question as to why there wouldn't be an additional substation somewhere nearby to deal with this, rather than relying on generators. Because, if this substation here is going to be out of action for a long time, it's going to have to be rebuilt by the look of it.
Of course, you've got all of that, but I understand that the backup system is not just adjacent to the existing substation. That will all evolve. But it's basic common sense. You need to rely on different substations. The national grid should be able to divert power. But ultimately, something like Heathrow, you need reliable backup systems, and they've failed in the core function because of their sustainability targets around net zero. And these are just the consequences of this mad policy action.
Don't you think, all our viewers and listeners have been swamping our inbox saying this is making us a global laughingstock. And given Heathrow's importance in the rest of the world, is that so?
It is. We're a laughingstock because we just can't make anything work these days. And when we do, it sort of struggles along, it splutters, and then the slightest hiccup, and bang, the whole thing shuts down. You might understand if there's a major fire that it might shut down for 15, 20 minutes whilst the backup's fired up and the like. But to automatically shut down for the whole day shows just how Heathrow organisation, the management of Heathrow have completely failed. They realise that they've been caught out, didn't know what to do, and they've panicked with huge consequences.
Well, we're keeping a close eye on this, of course. Can I ask you about debt? I think national debt in the UK, Richard, is standing at £2.7 trillion at the moment, about 96% of GDP. It's a terrifying figure. All parties agree it's far too high. It's just how to deal with it. Well,
there's some new debt figures out this morning from the Office for National Statistics. which show that not only have we got an economy that's collapsing, the OBR have just halved their forecast for growth for this year, but actually government debt is now soaring out of control. We are some 20 billion more borrowed than the OBR was forecasting just 3.5 months ago. So that is around about 15%, I think it is. And it shows that Rachel Reeves has completely lost control, not only of the growth of the economy, but also of government borrowing. And this is going to have a serious effect. I'm very concerned about the bond markets that will be on red alert. And this was all, frankly, due to the consequences of her disastrous blunder budget. Imagine that you're borrowing now 20 billion more than was forecast just 3 months ago. Indeed, in the last month, the ONS has had to revise up its previous borrowing numbers. So the whole thing is completely out of control and very, very worrying.
Well, it is worrying. However, I mean, the one thing which could be viewed as at least a positive reaction to this is we're expecting in the spring statement next week that actually the significant public spending cuts.
Well, that's the point. I mean, you can't keep spending more than you're earning. And so the Chancellor, because of her own failures, she's got two choices. Either to raise taxes ever more, well, you can't tax your way out of a crisis, or you've got to cut spending. And we've got to reduce the vast amount of wasteful government spending in order to get the public finances back under control. And if we get rid of daft regulation, then we can afford to cut taxes, and then we'll create some growth. But unless they have a significant change of course, then I'm afraid our economy is in serious trouble, and it's getting worse. And I will keep banging this drum. Net zero is a significant factor in the collapse of growth in this country. It's diverting tens of billions of pounds every year, and we're all paying the price for it. And do you know what? There was a leaked report out yesterday confirming that, of course, it's what we knew, which is the poorest get hit hardest by these net zero numbers. And this is catastrophic.
Got to leave it there. Appreciate your time. It's worth pointing out, I mean, this was back in, manifesto days, so, before the budget from Rachel Reeves, but the Labour Party had a target of eliminating deficit. Now, deficit and debt are not quite the same thing, but obviously related, but eliminating the government's deficit on day-to-day spending within 5 years and having a 10-year plan to upgrade our economy. Now, obviously, people would say, as Richard did, that the budget didn't help things last year, but we have got the spring statement next week, which the Chancellor says is all continuing the grounds of building those foundations.
But she said it's not a budget.
But it's not a budget.
It's a spring statement.
It's a statement.
It's funny how nobody has the guts to call anything a budget now, do they?
No.
We haven't had a proper budget. We just have statements.